You got the neighbor's dog barking, and summertime. We're outside. We're loving it. Hey, what we're doing here tonight is tasting a couple beers that have come all the way from Western Australia to St. Paul, Minnesota. George Copley, I hope I have his name right, sent me a bunch of recipe information as well as style guidelines. Apparently the style guidelines, well, they just have different categories. Australian lager, right? Australian pale ale. They're different than what we have. So we're going to do a tasting here. I'm going to do a quick kind of on-camera tasting, and then I can send him some more thoughts by the old-fashioned typing method. So we're starting with the lager. You know what I don't know is how he conditioned these. I'm assuming I'll have to find out later. I don't know if that's bottle conditioned. In the style guidelines for an Australian lager, so one example is just Foster's lager, which you've all probably, I'm not super familiar with actually drinking it, but I'm sure I've had it. This beer is clear. Mostly clear. I got actually a lot of condensation. It did talk about lively carbonation, which it has, and a nice white head, and the color would be, you know, right on for a lager. This beer got a silver medal in a Australian contest. I think he said it was the Western Australia State Amateur Brewers Competition Lager Appearance, straw to pale gold with a reasonable head. Oh man, it smells really nice. Cheers, George. Thank you so much. It smells like a light lager, like a Helles or something like that. It does have a lot of carbonation, and as it's talked about in here, more carbonation than my beers when I have them on tap. Not overly so, and actually it would probably be appropriate for the style, so that was probably even to the advantage of the scoring. Wow, it's very nice. It is kind of dry, but I think that's also something that's talking about here. Well carbonated, slight carbonic bite on the tongue is acceptable. That's what I was saying. Light, refreshing, and thirst quenching. Clarity is good. Crisp and dry flavor. Well, there you go. So, bang on for the style guidelines. Clean beer. I'll be drinking on it some more and send you some more thoughts. The pale ale, let's do a quick tasting of that. My neighbor's got some mild levels of OCD with lawn care, and that's actually not a joke. So she's like out here every night doing stuff. Right now she's spraying off something. She probably swept, and then now she's spraying, and then she needs to, like, yeah. Anyway, could be worse, right? Let's go to the pale ale. I was reading through the style guidelines. It was kind of interesting because it was talking about, it did not sound like they were supposed to be as hop forward and kind of thick and, you know, like we know what an American pale ale is. It didn't sound like the Australian pale ale was like that. I'm going to put, for my own purposes, the pale ale cap on the pale ale and the lager on the lager. Alright, so this one, now this one has a hop that I am not familiar with. Super Pride. 14.25% alpha acid. That is the only hop in here, so I am not familiar with that. Pale ale appearance. Good clarity, gold to amber, persistent snow white head. Again, with the head, the carbonation was also there. Brisk carbonation from bottle conditioning, so that's interesting. I don't know if he would have actually done anything different. I just can't tell. I don't have quite enough light out here. If either of them are bottle conditioned, I can't tell right now. I'll probably tell by the end of the bottle. I got probably too much head to get a lot of aroma. Not like a overly noticeable aroma from anything. More mouthfeel than the lager. that I think is light to medium body. Any impression of palate fullness from residual dextrin should be penalized. Well, they're saying it should be pretty fermented out. Did you hear that? Fireworks. July 9th. Still shooting off fireworks around here. Gotta love it. Good thing I don't have newborns anymore. I'd be a little more irritated. I don't really care. It definitely has more hop character. The hop is not as pronounced or unique as a lot of hops that we use, like Amarillo, Citra, Mosaic, Warrior, Chinook, stuff like that. I wonder if it's more of a noble hop or English kind of hop. I'm guessing it might be. I didn't do my research ahead of time, but again, no off flavors. It's clean. It's kind of like if I had to choose, the lager is just, I really do like a clean lager, as I talked about in a video with Dawson about Hellas, and so this is more familiar to me, and this is what I want. As far as the pale ale goes, I'm not familiar with an Australian pale ale. I saw that Cooper's historical style defined by Cooper's ales as the last surviving examples, which is something that I have not had and I'm not familiar with. So maybe there's sort of this category of lighter, drier pale ales that I'm not familiar with. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not maybe my preference. I like them a little bit, more juicy because that's what I'm used to. But it's a nicely made beer. It is clean. I think both of these beers actually went from about 10.50 to 10.11 was the pale ale. The lager was 10.50 to 10.12. And now that's interesting. I would have thought, if anything, the lager was lower and the pale ale was a little bit higher just because of the mouthfeel, but that probably had to do with, I don't want to get into all the recipe details because I can talk to him about that, but I just wanted to do this video because I don't get sent beers overseas too often. I have gotten a couple, and it amazes me that you guys want to do that, and I'll talk to George more. Maybe I'll write down some notes, but thank you for sending them. I have a lot of beer to drink. I've got some music to listen to. I have a nice summer evening. Hope you guys are having a good night too. See you later.